Well, happy Tuesday. It is Tuesday, November the 19th, the 324th day of the year. There are only 42 days left in the year 2024, believe it or not. And welcome to another edition of Tuesdays with Tom. Well, how does one elevate themselves in our society? Perhaps reach up a step or two beyond what is seen as your station in life. You say money, mentoring, education, parenting, luck. Perhaps for some of us or all of us, it was a combination of all of the above. Today, we will discuss just that very subject as we discuss the life changing program, Elevate Birmingham. Our G List guest is Marvin Stewart, who is the chairman of Elevate Birmingham. And Elevate Birmingham's mission is to build long term, life changing relationships with youth, equipping them to thrive and contribute to their communities. We look forward to hearing that uplifting story. Our show today is sponsored by the Best Girl Consulting Firm. Let's hear it from Best Girl.
Best Girl is a consulting firm that provides customized leadership, access and inclusion, public relations, communications, and organizational consulting services. Clients include Fortune 500 companies, utilities, higher education institutions, small businesses, and associations. Best Girl's team of consultants, led by Joyce Gilly-Gossam, Emily Hedrick, and Sean Jones, partners with business and education clients to promote organizational effectiveness, communication, motivation, and leadership, with always an impact on the bottom line. Best Girl's customized consulting services include strategic planning, corporate communication, executive coaching, fundraising, and economic development.
Best Girl customizes the solution that fits your needs. So let's go to the round table and talk to Barbara Wallace Edwards and Michael Walker. Good morning, Barbara Wallace Edwards. How are you?
Good morning, Tom. I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great. Thank you. What's going on in your world?
Well, Tom, I want to remind all of our viewers about something. I think Michael brought this up once before, but if you are a small business owner and have an LLC, you must fill out a beneficial ownership report for each LLC by 12/31/2024. You could be fined up to $595 a day until it reaches $100,000. So filing is free for all small business owners. But please take care of that before the end of the year. It could be very expensive fees that you'll have to pay. So just wanted to remind everyone of that.
Okay, and this is a relatively new thing.
It is. I think this is the first year they required this.
Yeah, I took care of mine. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah. What else you got there, Miss Barbara?
Well, it's basketball season, Tom. Our poor Auburn Tigers haven't been doing well this year in football, but basketball is a different story. We're undefeated so far this year, and I think our team is ranked number 4 right now. So proud of our team. They played a game last night against University of North Alabama, which most people would think that would be a powder puff game kind of thing, but UNA has a very good team, and Auburn beat them by, I think, over 40 points last night. So it was a great game, and I congratulate our players because they're having a great year. Janai Broom, who had an opportunity to go pro last year, decided to stay at Auburn and had a terrific game last night. I think he had 30 points and 17 rebounds. So congratulations, Janai, and to all of other players on our team as well.
Okay, and I want to say a congratulations to Antley over in South Carolina. South Carolina won the big football game this weekend. I know he's excited. So congratulations, Antley.
Congratulations, Antley. We know he followed them very closely. So
yeah. So Michael Walker, what you got for us this morning? What's going on in your world?
Good morning, TG and Barbara. I hope both of you are doing well. Let me also say congratulations, Antley, since he called me out on the Gamecocks. Your Gamecocks are strong this year. Tom and Barbara, there are a lot of things going on in the news. A lot of stuff happened since the last time we talked. One thing I wanted to is say congratulations to Dion. This is Dion's second year at Colorado. A lot of people doubted Dion. Last year they went 4-8. This year they're 8-2. And may end up playing for the Big 12 championship and get into the playoffs in year 2. You got that? Year 2.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right. Enough said. I won't say anything else. Okay.
We
Here's something
know.
that I think is
Are
pretty
you trying
interesting.
to say that something better could have happened to somebody else?
I would think so, considering
Yeah.
that other group has a lot more money, resources, and better players. That's all I'm saying. Just saying.
And a lot worse record. Yeah.
And then also the
And
other group.
I think Colorado's got a better quarterback.
That's what
Yes.
I was just about to
And a
say,
better
Tom.
coach. And a better
That's what I
coach.
was just about to say, but I'll leave that alone. You know, Halloween happened last month, I thought. Okay.
Mhm.
However, there were 3 people that decided to come up with an elaborate plan, and they scammed or tried to scam $146,000 out of the insurance company. What they did was one person dressed up as a bear and broke into a Rolls Royce and ransacked the Rolls Royce. And they made some makeshift claws. It was a bear costume that just broke into, and bears can open car doors. They're known to do that and
Right.
stuff, especially food. So this person emulated a bear and opened the car and got in there and just ransacked the car. And they filed a claim for $146,000 with the insurance company for having a bear attack on the car. And they were about to get away with it, and they got this, I think it was a biologist or somebody, and they looked at it and said, that does not move like a bear, that's moving like a person, and what have you. And they continued to investigate this and follow to where the car was, because these people were smart. They had it all on film so they could file the film and everything.
Right.
They documented everything. They just so happened to document stuff. Well, when they started looking and started searching houses, they found a bear costume in the closet.
It wasn't that smart.
They're just not criminals. They're stupid criminals, Michael. They keep all the evidence.
That's just unbelievable. I don't know. Why didn't you just get rid of the bear costume?
Exactly.
Why did you keep it?
Yeah.
So they could brag about it.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Just unbelievable.
Oh my gosh.
The other thing that I want to talk about is, Barbara, you just brought up the beneficiary owner information form. And yes, I did talk about that. And it's funny how the government is always coming down on individual citizens, business people, or whatever, as if we're the criminals.
Mm-hmm.
And if you ever had an incident with the IRS, you know how aggressive they can be.
Yes.
Well, lo and behold, an audit was done by a Republican Senator, Joni Ernst, I believe is her name, where they investigated, and they have found IRS agents, government employees owe a stunning $1.5 billion in back taxes.
They're not going after themselves.
Right. Not only are they not going after themselves, they're not even filing their tax returns.
Wow.
They have found that tens of thousands are repeat tax cheats, failing to file tax returns year after year, and the number is steadily increasing.
Wow.
Okay? But yet still, if you misfiling, they want to put you in jail.
Mm-hmm.
But here is $1.5 billion they're owed in back taxes from government employees and the IRS. That's amazing.
That is amazing.
Incredible.
Okay. But that's the country we live in, right?
Well, and then that BOI thing for me, it just kind of came out of nowhere.
Nowhere, right.
And it was like, okay, am I supposed to fill this out, or is this, because there are always some scammers who want to fill it out for you and charge you $300 and something.
Right.
So you're trying to differentiate between what you're supposed to do and what these scammers are trying to get you to do.
And I'm just curious, did they send a letter to small business owners to notify you of this? How would you know if everybody doesn't keep up with the news? So how would you know if you are a small business owner? Did they notify you individually?
Yeah, they're sending emails to you individually, telling you from the county in which you are registered, your company is registered in the state, they track it by, the EIN number and stuff. And then they
Okay.
find out who the owner is, your emails, that they're sending you emails telling you that you need to do this. Now, the reason for this is they're supposed to be trying to, here we go again, crack down on the criminals, the illegal people that come up and set up shell corporations, LLCs, to launder money. Okay. Well, here's the thing. Criminals don't follow the rules.
Right.
So they're sending it to people like me and Tom and everybody else, and they're going to fine us if we don't fill this out. But you're supposed to be going after the criminals that are putting up illegal corporations or laundering money and doing all that type of stuff.
Right.
I don't get it.
Well, and there seems to be this, let's go after the small business guys.
Right.
And and then they come back and say, well, small businesses are the backbone of the country.
Right.
Well, why are you always punishing the small business people?
You know what I say to that time when they say small business, the backbone of the country? Well, why are you always breaking the backs of small business?
Right.
You're always punishing the small business.
That's because the larger corporations have all these, people working for them that can cover their behind. So, I mean, I guess they have to go to small business. They're not going to get anything from large corporations. They know that. So.
They ought to.
They should.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Exactly. There's a couple other things here, and we'll move on. But Tom, your boy Matt Getz is up for Attorney General. How about that?
I don't know anybody that lives around here. He used to live right down the street.
Yes.
I don't know anybody who's excited about who thinks that's a good idea.
How can you nominate someone who's being investigated by the very office that he's trying to put him in charge of?
Well, when you've been investigated 3 or 4 times yourself, it's kind of easier to appoint somebody who's been investigated, a kindred spirit.
I guess so.
I was about to say, Barbara, didn't we just elect somebody that's 34 times
we did.
guilty of felonies?
Well, we didn't, but somebody did. Yes.
Okay. I mean, but this is just like his mentor. I guess you could call him his mentor, with him going to these parties. And this lady now is saying that she witnessed him having sexual relations with an underage girl at a party. But he's going to be the Attorney General, and that's pretty interesting there. Okay,
that's beyond interesting.
The other thing I have here is, you remember, Tom, I talked about, and it was on the news about FEMA and their employees were bypassing homes that had Trump signs in it and whatever. Well, they terminated this African American woman who they said gave the directive to do that. She is now speaking out and saying she's being scapegoated because she said it was a directive that came down that they were bypassing people with Trump signs in their yards because they had been very aggressive and attacking FEMA. And so it was like a safety measure to avoid them, is what she's saying.
Right.
And she didn't come up with it. It was a directive that came down, but because she implemented it, now she's being singled out and made an example of, like she did this on her own. So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see some lawsuits or something coming from behind that.
For sure.
And should.
Yeah. And the only other thing I have is, you heard about these racist texts people been getting?
Yes.
I haven't. Go ahead. Tell me.
Well, right after the election and starting, I guess it was last week, it probably bubbled over a week before last, where first it was African Americans that were getting text messages saying, you have now been selected to pick cotton, report at such and such time, and you will be picked up by your supervisor, your plantation supervisor. And it was sent to Black people, and a lot of them young teenagers.
Most of them college students, high school and college students.
Yes. And they've been circulating around the country. And it's odd that, and they know the people by name.
Yeah, they're calling them, naming them in the emails or text messages they're sending. So
Yes. Yes.
whoever this is has a list of and know who they're contacting.
Yeah.
And it's a massive numbers. The first I heard of it was a University of Alabama student reported it, and they were very upset about it.
Yes, but it's throughout. It's a lot of states,
Yes.
and primarily throughout the South, out west, and what have you. And I think this week they started targeting Latinos about immigration or something like that, if my memory serves me correctly, and sending it to certain people of Hispanic. And this all happened right after the election. Now, of course, the Trump campaign said we have nothing to do with that. We're not involved in that at all. But I just find it ironic that that would coincide with that. And the main thing is that they're calling these people by names when they send these text messages.
Well, I don't know, man. I get at least 2-3 calls a day from somebody trying to either sell me a roof or whatever, And when you answer the phone and you hear that, boop, I just hang up.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too, Tom. I do the same.
Not doing that today.
I get a million calls about Medicare.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Medicare this is the season. It's Medicare season.
Medicare open enrollment season. So they're contacting your phone, email, text messaging, tons of contacts each day.
Yeah. Back to that BOI, whatever.
Right.
Business ownership.
Says, when is an email your address of record?
Absolutely. I've never known the government to contact people via email before. They always tell you if you get an email, it's probably not from the government.
That's
they
why
contact you in writing.
I didn't think it was the
valid.
real
Right.
deal.
Yeah. Well, our organizations, one of the organizations that I represent, the NFIB, National Federation of Independent Business, we have been involved in that, trying to kind of get rid of that. That was something we saw coming a long time ago. So we had meetings. So that's how I knew about it and what have you. That's how I knew it was about trying to get rid of the criminal element that's laundering money and stuff like that, setting up shell corporations.
Let me ask you guys one thing. Did you happen to see the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight?
I didn't see the fight because too many people were trying to access it, and so my Netflix just would never open. I tried to watch it, so I had to see some highlights after the fight. What was your thoughts? Did you all get a chance to watch it?
I didn't.
I saw the last 3 rounds.
Okay.
Mike Tyson was 58. He's 58 years old.
Yes.
And he probably didn't have any business fighting this guy, but I think he got $20 million. So
it was well worth it, huh?
Hell, I might have taken a shot at it. But it wasn't much of a fight. Mike didn't have the legs. And if you've ever boxed just playing around, your legs go fast. And he couldn't keep up with the guy, and he didn't never really. You know how Mike came in, and the fight was over in the first round, really, and that wasn't the case here. So, and I never heard of that Jake Paul guy. So
me either. He came out of nowhere.
Sensation.
He's what?
A YouTube sensation.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I've never heard of him before.
He's been fighting and doing stuff on YouTube and stuff like that. So I'm not sure how that happened, but the guy's like 20-something years old. Tyson's 58.
I think he was 28 or 27, something like that.
So if he was 28, then Tyson's 30 years older than he is.
Right.
And Tyson's at, so anyway, I'm just happy that no one got hurt, primarily Mike. I'm happy that he was able to get through the fight. They were 2-minute rounds. I don't know, how many rounds did it go, Tom?
6, 8, I think.
Okay.
8 rounds.
2-minute rounds. So what was it? 16 minutes altogether or something like that.
So he never knocked him out or anything. It's just
No, he got
No.
rocked a couple times. Mike
Okay.
landed some punches too. They tell me that Mike won the first round, as a matter of fact.
I heard that Mike did very well in the first 2 rounds.
Okay.
You know, and then he ran out of gas. And, you know, Mike was in television shape. You know, he looked good,
Right.
but boxing shape was a whole different thing. You know, he was trying to chase that guy around and stuff, and well,
Tom, he was in television shape.
He was in what, Mike?
Tom said he was in television shape.
Television shape, yeah.
He looked good on
great, you know. And
He
matter
did.
of fact, I was up at my friend's restaurant. We was up there. Ford was down here, and so we were up there. We were sitting with these people, and so when they come out, I'll just say it this way: Mike came out and he had his hand, and he checked his junk while he was standing there. I said, "Well, Mike's checking on his junk there to make sure everything's in good shape before he go to battle." Oh man, I can tell you this: I saw Mike Tyson live in Vegas once, and the guy who fought the other night was nowhere near Mike Tyson in his prime. So,
wow.
anyway, anybody got anything else? Okay, well, why don't we go on and let Sean come in here and give us a minute, and then we'll go from there.
Good morning to everyone joining in with us. My name is Shantia Jones, and this is Got a Minute. Thanksgiving is next week. That means there's possibly a lot of food, laughs, or maybe even sadness. Did you know that Elvis once crooned about feeling blue at holiday time? Well, I'm here to tell you it's perfectly normal to feel that way. There are a variety of reasons why your days may not be merry or bright around the holiday season. It can be the jam-packed social calendar, deadlines for work, the loss of a loved one, sunless winter days, or all of the above. According to the American Psychological Association, 38% of people surveyed said that their stress increased during the holiday season, which can lead to physical illness, depression, anxiety, and maybe even substance misuse. The reasons include having lack of time, financial pressure, gift giving, and even sometimes family gatherings. If you are struggling or just need support, it is okay to reach out and share what it is that you need. Thank you all for joining in. My name is Shantia Jones, and this is Got a Minute.
Thank you, Sean. And I agree with Sean. If you need help during the holiday season, you should reach out. There'll be many people, I think, willing to reach out and help whomever during the holiday season. So let's go to the G list. Hollywood's got the A list. And here on Tuesdays with Tom, we have the G list. And our G list guest today is Marvin Stewart. Man, I've been knowing a long time. Marvin will discuss Elevate Birmingham, an incredible organization with a very, very, very powerful message, which is mission, which is to build long-term, life-changing relationships with youth and equip them to thrive and contribute to their community. So let's go to Marvin, and we got some other information here. But good morning, Mr. Stewart. How are you, sir?
I am well, Tom. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you for being with us. Before we get into asking you questions, why don't you just give us a quick rundown on Elevate Birmingham, how you got involved, and where you guys are now?
Well, thank you, Tom. Elevate Birmingham is one of 23 similar chapters throughout the country. The parent organization is Colorado Uplift. Began about 40 years ago, And because Colorado Uplift was having tremendous success, other cities began to ask for a similar chapter, but they couldn't call it Colorado outside of Colorado. So the name Elevate was formed, and the first non-Colorado chapter was Elevate Orlando. I became involved 3 years ago through a phone call from a friend. And he said, Marvin, I have found the most unique program that's having an impact with inner city youth. And so when he shared the mission of Elevate, as you mentioned, Tom, to build long-term, life-changing relationships with urban youth, the topic interested me. Over the years, while you were here in Birmingham, Tom, I was a big brother in the Big Brother, Big Sisters program. And I know that has an incredible impact. But what intrigued me about Elevate was the fact that it was in the school system and that there was an Elevate class being taught by teacher mentors on character and life skills. But the program did not end with teaching that class. The program was designed for full-time teacher mentors to teach an accredited course on character and life skills during the day. But when the school bell rings, that's when the main part of the teacher mentor model kicks into action. And so because of their presence in the classroom, 180 days a year, the teacher mentors have a very, very unique opportunity to build in-depth relationships with kids in the inner city.
Okay, well, Marvin, I think we've got a film you guys gave us. Let's bring that film up, Sean, and we'll get back.
The reality for most urban youth across America is that 47% say they are moderately or extremely depressed, and 45% say they are moderately or extremely lonely. However, there is a secret door out of this reality. It's just not a door they can open alone. It's a door that needs someone else, a relationship. Because one positive, caring relationship can change their entire life trajectory. That's why we at Elevate USA are building these relationships and equipping urban youth to become thriving leaders in their communities. All thanks to our Elevate teacher mentors who show up for students in 4 key ways. First, mentoring. Our full-time salaried teacher mentors provide whole person support to youth through year-round long-term relationships. Second, curriculum. Schools embrace a fully accredited leadership curriculum that builds a foundation for deep relationships between these teacher mentors and their students. Elevate classes teach character qualities and life skills such as courage, respect, and decision-making. These high school students then turn around and teach the same concepts to kids at their local elementary school. Third, adventure experiences. We facilitate growth by introducing students to new opportunities that build resiliency and expand their boundaries. Finally, college and career. As early as 4th grade, students begin thinking about college and beyond, so that by the time they graduate high school, they have a plan for their future, such as attending college, a trade school, or joining the military. Urban youth suffer from a lack of meaningful relationships. Elevate is building the doorway out of that relational poverty. With your help, we can make this door not so secret. And on the other side of it, generations upon generations upon generations of thriving leaders.
Man, that sounds awesome. Marvin, you want to comment before we get to questions? You want to comment on the video?
Yeah, I will, Tom. There's a statement in that video that talks about relational poverty. In Birmingham, Elevate is currently at Winona High School. Here are the demographics that we face. 65% of our students do not live with a biological father. That same percentage or more say they do not have a reliable adult in their life. That's the context that we are working with here at Winona and that community. We have been in Birmingham for 3+ years. Over that 3-year period, we have reached almost 500 students. I think it's 496. 91.7% are on track to graduate. Even when I speak to Winona teachers, they are taken aback by the statistics of their own students. That's the impact that having a strong, caring relationship makes in the life of a child. On the right, our audience may not be able to see, are several other statistics that I'll touch on because it talks to me about how that positive relationship can have a transformative impact. 7 out of 10 say they have a deep relationship with their teacher mentor. So here you have a child who, for the most part, is living in poverty, does not live with his biological father, does not feel he has a reliable adult in his life, who now says, and you'll find this interesting, Elevate takes surveys twice a year of the students. So they have a benchmark of how the student feels about himself, his home life, his future, before he really begins the Elevate program. And they do that twice a year. So you have a student who feels detached and lonely, who now says, I have a strong relationship with my teacher mentor. 8 out of 10 say, I feel like I have a future. I mean, that's the type of impact that we want. Sometimes when I speak to audiences, I'll ask the question, how do you go about building a long-term relationship with a kid in the inner city at Parker High School or Fairfield or Huffman or Winona? Elevate does that by hiring teacher mentors who work in the classroom. So if you go to Winona today, you'll see biology, history, math, and Elevate. Elevate is on the master curriculum. 4 years ago, I and a few others met with the superintendent of the Birmingham school system and Dr. Pam Williams, the then director of curriculum, along with individuals from Elevate USA in Denver. And they sent Dr. Williams in particular the curriculum, lesson plans that the teacher mentors would teach. And Tom, I want to say, of all the meetings I have been in, they were incredibly well prepared and were really 10 steps ahead of us with Elevate. They loved the fact that these inner city kids were going to have a teacher mentor who would be there 24/7. And I'll give you one example, one of my favorite examples. In our first year at Huffman High School, the teacher mentors and the students exchanged phone numbers on day one. We had a female student call our teacher mentor and said, my mother's boyfriend is making advances and coming on to me. She was going to drop out of school. The teacher mentor convinced her to remain in school, was there every time she had a challenge. And today, that young lady, instead of being a high school dropout or a teenage pregnancy or a victim of abuse, is on track to graduate. Mm-hmm.
Let's, Michael, you got a question?
Yes, absolutely. Good morning, Marvin, and thank you for being with us. And I must say, we certainly appreciate the work that Elevate Birmingham is doing. One of the things I wanted to ask you is that you said the Elevate model is to hire full-time teacher mentors who teach accredited curriculum. How does Elevate finance to do all of this?
I'm glad you asked. So our support comes from individuals like yourself. We hold meetings with businessmen and individuals throughout the city who want to make a difference in the lives of urban youth. And when we tell the Elevate story and the impact that it can have, people give. So our full-time teacher mentors earn the salary of a public school teacher, $40,000 to $50,000. our cost to operate a school is in the range of $450,000. And let me elaborate on that. So when I say the cost to operate a school, Elevate tries to build a pipeline. So in January, we will go with the principal of Winona, Dr. Goldsmith, to Oxmoor Valley Elementary and communicate the impact that Elevate has had at the high school. But our goal is to begin reaching these students in the 4th grade and begin to build a pipeline through the elementary school, the middle school, and the high school. But when we tell that Elevate story to people and show the results, people say, I'm willing to contribute and support a program like that. And that's really where support comes. Private individuals, some of the folks are business owners. The response of the foundation community has really been tremendous. I mean, tremendous. We are very, very thankful for their support. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Barbara?
Yes, good morning, Marvin. Thank you so much
Good morning,
for
Barbara.
joining us. I had an opportunity to attend the Vision Breakfast that Elevate had here in Birmingham, and I had an opportunity to actually meet and sit with some of those students that are involved in Elevate classes, and I was so impressed with those individuals. They were, I mean, top tier students. So right now you're only in one school, and I know that has a lot to do with funding because you're desired to be in more schools. What is being done to increase the funding so that you can duplicate these programs in other schools here in the Birmingham area?
Mm-hmm. Well, Barbara, you raise a very good question. So my vision is identical to what you have just shared. We're at Winona. There are 6 inner city schools. Our budget for a pipeline is $450,000, like I mentioned. But we really need to raise $3 million to be in all 6 schools. We're in year 3 at Winona. When we first launched in Birmingham, and our board of directors consists of 9 businessmen right now. We want to expand that so we have more individuals who can be on programs like this or speak before groups or talk to businesses about the impact that Elevate has. When we first launched Elevate Birmingham, we were told that the dominant support would come from individuals, and that has proven true. And that corporations prefer to see a track record before they begin to invest. Well, now we have a 3-year track record. So in 2025, we plan to shift from individual support to asking the companies, the largest companies in Birmingham, to begin to support the Elevate model.
Great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So let me, you mentioned I think you started Elevate Colorado, and so obviously the program is involved in other areas. So in Elevate Birmingham, is the city of Birmingham, since they're public schools, are the city of Birmingham involved in terms of funding or helping you guys to raise the program to another level?
So we have taken the same approach with the city that we were encouraged to take with companies. So we were informed that once you provide companies or jurisdiction like Birmingham with a proof of concept model, you are more likely to get their support. So this upcoming year would be year 4 for us. And so now I can show the city as well as the top 100 companies that graphic that we reach 500 students, 91.7% are on track to graduate, and we can show the transformative impact of those statistics on the right. So as of today, Mike, Tom, we don't have support from the city, but it's our plan to sit down with the city as well as the top companies and share the impact that the program is having, because we want to be in all 6 schools. Absolutely.
Barbara?
And you mentioned something also earlier about those high school students will then go and be mentors to elementary students.
Absolutely.
And how has that worked in the past? Has that been something that's been successful?
Very, very. And it's really key to the Elevate model because our plan is to purchase a van. So in the next 90 days, give or take, you'll see a van around town with the Elevate logo and so forth on it. But you'll know, Barbara and Tom and Michael and the guests will know that that van is designed to take students from the high school to the elementary school once a week and teach the same information on character and life skills, but on a grade appropriate level. But that teaching vehicle has a way of impacting the teacher, which is the student, high school student. So he begins to learn that same information on character and life skills, on integrity, decision-making, trust, honesty in a different way, because now he's teaching it.
Right. And at what grade level are the students become involved in high school? Is it sophomore year, junior, or senior year that they actually start to take the Elevate classes?
So we are on the master curriculum. And so when I say Elevate teaches an accredited curriculum approved by the Birmingham school system, I really mean just that. And so when they sit down, when the ninth graders, to answer your question, sit down to choose their schedule, they'll see Elevate as an option. And so there are 4 different Elevate classes. For freshmen, Intro to Elevate. For sophomores, Elevate 1. For juniors, Elevate 2. And then for seniors, of course, we want them to apply for college. We want them to make college visits. If they're focused on the military, we've got some in Elevate in ROTC. One of the ladies that sat at our table together, Barbara, is in ROTC. Get them off into ROTC, or if they're vocationally oriented, to get them off. But that senior year is designed to help them move to the next phase of their life. Mm-hmm.
Michael?
Yes, Marvin, this is a very impressive program, and not to harp on it, but I wanted to ask you this question. With what you're doing in the school system with Elevate, you know, all these issues that we're having in the metro areas in schools with shootings and all of this type of stuff, I'm sure you guys are a nonprofit. One would think that you should be able to get some federal grants from the Department of Education.
It's interesting that you say that, Michael. One of the guests at the Vision Breakfast that Barbara attended came up to me after the breakfast and said his brother operates a different type of mentoring program in Chattanooga and is getting, I think he said, $5.3 million in federal funding a year. Well, that just opened up all of our eyes. You know, we had never considered funding on the federal level like that. So we do get support from the Office of Juvenile Justice and Detention, OJJD program. So there are 23 Elevate chapters throughout the country. We're impacting 17,000 inner city students in the aggregate. So that OJJD grant provides each Elevate chapter with around $30,000 a year for 3 years. That's very helpful. But to expand and scale, we need to see grant award from the government in the 7-figure range, like you are suggesting. You are correct. Mm-hmm.
Marvin, it's a relationship-based approach. And one of the things it says, the strength of these relationships is developed through 4 key program components: the numbers, the crisis, the reality, the opportunity. Can you just take us through those 4 things and how they work, how you operate the program based on those key program components?
I can. And so there are 4 program areas that are at the heart of building life-changing relationships. The first is hiring teacher mentors. And so I'm a big fan of big brothers, big sisters. And when I was involved, just like it is today, you met once a week with a student. So the Elevate model you can see is different. Now, it is full-time teacher mentors who are in the public school classroom. And so I haven't shared this yet. You'll find this interesting. Elevate puts 3 teacher mentors in a single classroom.
Wow.
And so every time I say that, people say, why in the world would you put 3? Because our focus is not solely academic excellence. Our focus is the point Tom just asked about. We want to build relationships. So if a child comes to class and has trouble at home, is scared because of the community he works in, has been assaulted by someone or threatened by someone, or is hungry, our teacher mentors who are not teaching can intercede in real time right then before that minor problem becomes a life-changing problem for that young student. That's full-time teacher mentors who teach an accredited curriculum. So our teacher mentors are not shooting from the hip. They have developed by Elevate USA in Denver. They have a lesson plan to help implement each of the character traits and life skills that we want to teach. The third program is adventure. So we would involve our students in going to a Barron's game or something similar, Habitat for Humanity. During the summer, we'll take our students, many of whom have never been out of state, on a 1-week summer camp, either in the mountains or with some other organization where they get exposure to being outside of their natural environment. And that really has a life-changing impact. I've been surprised at how those summer camps really, really influence the kids. And then the fourth area, teacher mentors, accredited curriculum, adventure, and that fourth program area is what we just talked about, college and career, and really get them ready. So you guys will find this interesting. At Huffman High School, the counselors opened up the records to our Elevate teacher mentors so they could determine if a child was getting all the courses he needed to graduate. They're so busy addressing felt needs that sometimes they don't have time to make sure a kid has the right coursework to get to college. Well, now our teacher mentors can play a role in that process to make sure that the student is on track to graduate. Many times, you'll find this interesting, many times it often leads to a conversation with a parent. So this Friday at Winona High School, we'll serve Thanksgiving dinner to 150 students and their families. Winona does a fantastic job of providing a food pantry, because some students come to school hungry. Some students won't have anything to eat after school. That food pantry provides that need. What we have done at Elevate, both at Huffman High School and now at Winona, is provide a Thanksgiving dinner. We've asked the principal, Dr. Goldsmith, Ms. Segrist, the vice principal, to identify 150 students in need, in addition to our Elevate students. And we'll serve them a Thanksgiving dinner this Friday at Hopewell Baptist Church. I met with Dr. Rogers about 2 weeks ago, and we went over the needs together. He opened up the church so we could serve the students and their families dinner. I think that's fantastic. But what it does, it gives us an entry not only into the students, but into parents at need. And so we have a chance to build relationship with parents as well. Mm-hmm.
It sounds like to me that you guys are providing exposure to these young people that is normal for some. I mean, like you talk about going on camping trips and so on and so forth. You know, a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people, families go on vacations annually or what have you. And it sounds like this is not what's normal there. And so you're trying to give them the best relationship, I guess, adult young person relationship that will uh, move them forward. That's just kind of what I'm picking up here.
And you're right, Tom. So I'm going to expand on that point. I was speaking with our grant coordinator yesterday. She was sharing with me that many of the foundations are asking, how are you partnered with other companies in the community to provide opportunities for the students? Well, it goes back to Barbara's question about how are we raising support. We really need to raise $3 million as opposed to $450,000 a year. But in 2025, we want to begin talking to companies. One, many of them have a need for qualified candidates to work at their companies. But two, we want to start having representatives come to the school once a week. So I haven't mentioned Career Wednesday. So every Wednesday, we bring in a speaker to talk to the students about career opportunities. We want to expand that, Tom. We want to have internship opportunities for all of our students in the summer. So from my standpoint as the chair, that's the next big leap. One, expose Elevate to the business community on a broader scale, but two, begin to create internship opportunities for these students in real time today. So it's not theoretical, but we're making it a reality.
Michael, I know you've got to get out a little early. You got another comment or question?
Sure, I appreciate that. Marvin, how are the students selected? Because, and how many do you take through a year? And what's the criteria to being selected?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So when we first started, Michael, at Huffman and at Winona High School, no one knew about Elevate other than the principal, the vice principals, and the counselors. So we relied upon the counselors for input to recommending students to us. After Elevate has been in effect and other students get word that one, you have fun in Elevate, that the teacher mentor is taking interest in you, that if you have a problem, they take you out of class right then and walk the halls. Word has gotten out. So when students see Elevate on the master curriculum, they want to take Elevate. But it begins in direct answer with the counselors recommending students to be in the Elevate class. So numbers wise, we have about 40 to 45 students involved in Elevate at Winona as we speak.
Wow.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
I just got one. There were quite a few. There was some shootings in Birmingham
Yes.
2 months ago. Where does that failure come from? Is that a failure of parenting? Is that a failure of the house? Is that?
But it all starts in the home.
Okay.
Values are implemented in the home. And so when I share that statistic that 65% do not live with their biological father, or 65% do not feel they have a reliable person at home, it creates what I think is an understandable path of a young woman wanting to get community and ends up being pregnant, or a young man wanting community and ends up with the wrong crowd and in gang life. So the role of Elevate is to fill that relationship gap. You're 100% correct, Brother Tom.
Barbara, you got anything else?
Yes, Marvin. If our viewers want to support Elevate, how can they contact you? What do they need to do? What do they need to look for in order to make a donation if they're interested?
Sure, thank you. So we have a website, elevatebirmingham.org. They can go to that website. There's a donate page. My contact information is also on the page if they want to reach out to me and talk about becoming more involved. As you know, Barbara, we want to expand our board. I mentioned earlier we have 9 members on the board of directors. We'd like to expand that to 15 over the coming year, so we have more spokespersons like myself telling the Elevate story.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Okay, Marvin, any final words from you?
Well, Tom, I just appreciate seeing you again after all these years. I appreciate Barbara. She's a member of the Worship Center Christian Church where I attend. But I appreciate the opportunity to talk to your audience. Many times when I sit down with a business person who may be white, I will say, those kids are our kids. It's up to you and me to champion their cause. And so if someone has a heart for the city, of all the programs I have been involved in over the years, and I love many of them, there is not another program in the country that has in-school mentoring with 3 teacher mentors in a single classroom. This gives you the maximum impact for your charitable dollar.
All right, well, Marvin, thank you so much, man. We appreciate you and wish you the best. And I would say that if there's anything you need specifically from me or Barbara or Michael, reach out to us and we'll be glad to help out where we can.
Well, thank you so much, Tom. Thank you so much. It really is good to see you again.
It's good to see you, and I hope to see you. It's not be as long next time, and I'll tell Michael. Michael that we talked.
All right. Good talking to you. Thank you so much, Barbara. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right. See you later.
Okay, my closing comment for today, or as I see it, is concerning the whip hand. This Friday, members of the Auburn University 1974 football team will meet on campus to relive some of the memories of that team's success. The team finished the year with a 10-win season with only 2 losses. I was fortunate enough to be a part of that team and can say that of the 4 Auburn varsity teams that I was involved with from 70 through 74, the 1974 team was at the top of my list for achievement, fun, and friendship. So where did this thing, the whip hand, come in? That was the saying of our coach, Ralph Shug Jordan. Unlike today, Coach Jordan coached at Auburn for 25 years. He won 176 games, a national championship, and he's in the Hall of Fame. I can say that playing alongside Coach was both a chore and a pleasure. We integrated the team together. There were 2 black players on the team when I was there, 3 when I graduated. Coach kicked me off the team a couple of times, but at the end of my playing time, he told me how proud of me he was and that he was proud that I was one of his boys. We finished that 74 season with a 10-2 record, and as Coach described it, we had the whip hand in every game we played, even when we let it slip out of our hands in the 2 games that we lost. I had some controversy on one play that became known as the Gossam incident. You can look it up on the internet. It's under the Gossam incident. The controversial touchdown against our arch rival Alabama was called back. People still talk about it today. The Gossam incident and the 1974 team. Blessings to all my teammates. That 1974 team was something special. And that's our show for today. We want to thank the audience. We appreciate you. Thank our G-list guest, Marvin Stewart. What a great job, Marvin. We wish you guys well, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks to our sponsor, Best Girl. Thanks again to the TWT team, Barbara, Sean, Emily, Michael, and Joyce. And that's it for this November the 19th. November the 19th already. Remember, a day without a smile is a day wasted. If you've got an extra one, give one to someone else today. Enjoy yourself. Make every day count. Stay safe. Blessings and peace.